Wow. Billy Joe Saunders says that Canelo's last fight with Average Pilgrim was embarrassing, and he says he fought a bum. We're going to talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Billy Joe Saunders says, quote, "You're only as good as your last performance." He did an interview with Aka and Barack with DAZN. He says, quote, again, "You're only as good as your last performance. My last performance was against Martin Murray. Was that performance good enough to beat Canelo Alvarez? Probably not. Definitely not. You know, we couldn't go too much on Alvarez's performance in his last fight because this fella just went in there and he jacked around for 3 rounds. You know, it was a bit embarrassing, to be honest with you. So I don't embarrass myself about money. I wouldn't do that." He says, Canelo, he got the job done. No injuries. That's the main thing. Against a bum. So now we move on to May 8th. So Billy Joe Saunders says and admits that his performance with Martin Murray, or how he fought, is not good enough. Definitely not good enough to beat Canelo Alvarez. But he said, in the same vein, boxing is a what have you done for me lately type of sport. And he said he wasn't really impressed with Canelo's opponent either. He called him a bum, as you guys heard, and he said Canelo just toyed with him for 3 rounds, and it was embarrassing, to be honest. Now, Ego Stradamus strikes again. This is becoming a routine thing. So shout out to all the supporters for coming to my channel. When I say these things, I don't care if they're popular or if they're unpopular. I say what's on my mind. I built this channel from the ground up with great fans, and you know, that's what we're going to continue on that trend. Now, I said all this. I told you I was pretty much blacking out Canelo versus Average Pilgrim. You know, I wasn't pressed about covering the fight. I wasn't like enthralled with the fight. I wasn't on the edge of my seat, you know, things like that. I was just going to go about my regular life for this very reason. And now that the fight has taken place, they booked up a NFL venue, people, an NFL venue to showcase that fight. I don't think it's a good representation of boxing. It's not a great or good precursor to what they're trying to advertise as a better fight with the Canelo and Saunders. So it's really a fight that didn't need to happen. And you know, some of the Canelo man fans are almost like robots, where they're pre-programmed to say these token messages about, oh, it's a mandatory. Listen, boxing is a sport. I don't care about the mandatory and stuff like that when you continue to fight people that are not the cream of the crop and or the main people that guys and girls that love boxing want to see you fight. So just simply saying it's a mandatory, he had to, that's false, because at the end of the day, Canelo had beef with the WBC just a few years ago. I remember for the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight, Canelo Alvarez refused to accept the belt. They were given the belt, a Huicho belt or some kind of commemorative belt, you know, some Mayan belt or whatever it was, to the winner of Canelo versus Chavez Jr., which clearly was Canelo. And he had declared before the fight in the contest even took place that he was not going to accept the belt because he was upset with the WBC. In 2016, when he should have fought Golovkin, I think that was the year, Canelo said he's not going to be bound by terms and artificial deadlines from sanctioning bodies, meaning he showed you when he gave his belt up to Golovkin that the sanctioning bodies don't manage and run his career. He does what he wants. And more proof of this is people had a scapegoat when Canelo was with Golden Boy. They simply said, oh, Canelo wants the best fights, but he's fighting the Liam Smiths, the Rocky Fieldings, the Amir Khans, and other lackluster fights, or guys at the back half of their career, Shane Mosley's and guys like Sergey Kovalev. He's fighting these guys, and they blamed it on De La Hoya. But guess what? Last year, Canelo sued, got his way, and settled based on having like legitimacy to his complaint, and he got out of his career contract with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy, and the opponent selections look the same. David Benavidez says, I'll knock Canelo out. I think they're avoiding me. And you ultimately see Canelo fighting Caucasian fighters, mostly from Eastern European or European fighters. You know, he fought a Turkish fighter. You got a guy like David Benavidez, Jamal Charlo, like spicier fights that people want to see. So, you know, the world sees it. You know, he's saying, I want to be undisputed. But David Benavidez had a belt 2 times. Like, let's say when David Benavidez knocked out Anthony Durrell, nobody had knocked out Anthony Durrell. How come Canelo fought Kovalev? You know, how come he didn't say, you know what, that Benavidez fool, I got you. I want to be undisputed at 168. It's only after these things happen, like Benavidez losing his belt to cocaine or losing his belt to a failed weight, you know, missed weight stipulation and a technicality, that now Canelo wants to be undisputed, right? And there's so many good fights for him. And Canelo has a good resume, but the point of being great is you have to continue to prove your worth. Like, even me as a YouTube channel, I have to continue to put out content that is relatable and resonates with the crowd. You know, otherwise I would have been done a long time ago, because people would have moved on to other channels or whatever. So me, I'm always striving for greatness and, you know, inching towards perfection. Even though you'll never truly get perfection, I'm always looking for new ways to excite the fans and, you know, reinvent myself. And it's no different. So if I have to do that as a channel, keep up with the times and find these new and creative ways to reinvent myself, then why should it be different for Canelo Alvarez? I'm constantly trying new things, buying different mics and new, you know, to improve my sound, and studying up on audio and sound and visual aids, and finding ways to keep you guys engaged. So Canelo, even though he has a solid, very good resume, at the end of the day, is until you retire, it's a ever long quest to keep proving and showing people your greatness. That's it. Michael Jordan, you know, after he got 4 rings, he could have just stopped. Like, damn, I got 4 rings, back-to-back playoffs. I have never, but he kept going. You know what I mean? So boxing should be no different. I'm not expecting every fight to be your greatest fight, but the average Pilgrim fight was horrible and miserable. When I said that, people had issue with it. But everybody else has said it too. Edgar Berlanga said you fought a punching bag. Teddy Atlas said they don't make mandatories like they used to. That was horrible. I see why people are going to UFC. Saunders said you fought a bum, and that's your next opponent. He said you fought a bum and a guy who just showed up. You know, it was a black eye for the sport of boxing. Saunders is saying that, you know, of course you didn't have any injuries because you just went in and did what you want, and it was rather embarrassing. So we'll see what type of fight Saunders could put up versus Canelo. That's my time. Use my link, get ESPN Plus and TUBEBUDDY. These are great ways to support the channel. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next videos, Ego sign out. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TUBEBUDDY. I've used TUBEBUDDY for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TUBEBUDDY is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TUBEBUDDY and level up your channel faster. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.